All right. This is take 2, technically take 3, but we don't talk about the second one. Of my analysis of Chrom specifically in this little video here, this 3-minute video. I did it the first time and I had a lot to say, but the video got screwed up, so I'm gonna re-record it now. Hopefully this is gonna make it a little bit more streamlined and a little bit less 45 minutes long. So let's get into this. I started watching it because I was interested in Chrom's airspeed, and I wanted to know if he was like a fast faller the same way Roy was. And spoiler alert, yes, he is. But we got to look into the more important stuff because we see a couple things here. All right. So the first thing that is notable, already like a couple seconds in, is that you look at this short hop. I believe this is a short hop. No, that's a full hop. That's definitely a full hop. Chrom does this full hop off the ground. It is slightly higher, it seems, and he fast falls. The go is kind of in the way for this, but he fast falls about right here and does a forward air, and gets 9%. This is a weird thing that is going on. Sometimes Chrom's forward air does 9%. No, it always does 9%. Never mind, I'm thinking of his back air. That was a separate thing. False alarm, but this full hop is actually slightly higher than Roy's, but the fall speed seems just about identical. Let's continue on for a little bit here. Okay, there's another important thing that happens with this. Chrom gets this forward air, and because it's spaced right, it still hits because it's Chrom, but if Roy got that hit, it would have been a weak hit, and he would have gotten this grab follow-up that he goes for right here. But instead, because it was the strong hit, Chrom dashes up and can't dash up far enough, goes for this grab and just straight up whiffs. That might require a different follow-up. You might have to like dash up jab, which you can do because you can dash up anything in this game. Which would be, I mean, arguably better than dash up grab because you can jab, then grab, then follow up off of that. But it just shows that like Chrom's follow-ups are going to be very different, maybe sometimes better, maybe sometimes worse than what Roy can do. Their characters are much more different than a lot than you might give them credit for from time to time. So you see Chrom and shield here. Oh yeah. Oh shoot. Something interesting happens here. Chrom's hop jump here, because it has the exact same like pose as Roy, it just looks really weird. Shoot, where'd it go? Where'd you go for me, my guy? Alright, well, hang on. We'll see it. Because Chrom jumps. That, right there. I don't know why I think that looks so weird. I just think it looks really weird. Maybe just because Chrom is, like, grown and Roy is not. So, it's like, why is this grown dude looking so small? Jumping like that. But I don't know, it might just be me. Maybe it's just because I'm seeing Roy stuff on a character that isn't Roy. Chrom does neutral B there. This is actually something very important because something that Roy has that can be spaced and is actually really nice to have is his neutral B. It has minimal lag, next to nothing levels of lag, and we just see it here with Chrom. Let's go right around here. This is he starts up the neutral B. It has this just about the same startup. Maybe the range is slightly different, but the range is very misleading on Roy's neutral B. There's actually only one frame where the hitbox is actually active, and the upward range doesn't really exist nearly as much, and the downward range doesn't exist either. It's mostly just out. So it might look like it has less range, but it's probably identical. But it has similar landing, like end lag of straight up nothing. Chrom catches that missile, secret surfaces the missile. Nice one, guy. So he lands with Dancing Blade. This is something you can actually do in Smash 4, and it's pretty good as Roy. Dancing Blade in this game is very different, so it's kind of hard to compare. But if it is as quick and if it is as strong, which we'll talk about in a minute, then it's going to be a very, very good landing option. Chrom is going to have a lot of good landing options, actually. Chrom approaches with counter, because that's my man right there. He's doing exactly what I would have done. Gets smacked a little bit for it. Doing exactly what I would have done. So here we see something awesome. Chrom does this forward air, right? Roy's forward air is notoriously unsafe pretty much all the time, except for like some niche circumstances, which we could talk about like when we're actually in game, but that's besides the point. Chrom gets his forward air, and then he dashes up, and that's what gets punished. He doesn't get punished because he misspaces it and like just gets smacked. Dark Samus does this down tilt because he's trying to run up and grab afterwards, which we can see. Let's slow this down for a bit. Just go to like 0.5. See how he just dashed up a little bit there? Chrom does this forward air, and then he dashes, and Dark Samus does the down tilt startup, and he's like into his jump animation, like he was going to do another move, and gets caught out of that. So that forward air looks very safe. It looks absurdly safe, especially when it's spaced like that. And that's a big tool because Roy's forward air is like never safe. And if you can space something that isn't back air, which back air is generally just better for spacing as Roy, that'd be really nice to have, because that means you don't have to be facing the opposite direction. Chrom gets smacked, however, because he gets greedy. So he dashes up here, does this up air. I don't know if up air has landing lag, but more importantly, like if that up air had any landing lag, but more importantly, he does jab. Chrom's jab is a little different animation-wise, and that actually gives it a lot more range, just like raw range. As you can see, Roy usually like sort of backhands the sword. Chrom is actually holding it forward still, but he's just twisting his wrist in kind of a weird way. But anywho, looking at this jab, this is like a super meaty jab. This is like a Roy jab. It would have been the same hitbox for Roy, except Chrom's getting it because it's like super close range. And I think this Chrom player is like actually a Roy player. Looking through this video a couple times, he does a lot of things that like you would have done as Roy. So it would make sense if this Chrom player actually just plays Roy and is doing Roy things, because he does this jab and then he goes into forward air like that. Here's the crazy thing. This forward air ended. This is interruptible. We'll see it right there. He does it a little late, but that's when the move ends. If the IASA frames are the same, the move ends there, and you can get double jump forward air. That puts Dark Samus in a really bad spot. The percent's kind of low, so it won't like kill or anything like that. But Chrom actually jumps back here and sort of backs up, does this F smash. Nice whiff. That's my dude. We whiff F smashes around here. Gets punished for it. So, and then gets dash attacked, kind of gets put off stage, doing his own thing. This is another good example of like Roy movement. When he jumps, his airspeed is almost identical, and that's like one of the most important things about Roy. The ground speed is good, the airspeed is vital to that character, especially when it comes to being able to weave your way around shields and stuff like that. And we see here something that this Chrom does a lot, landing back air. This move is really good. We see it do, let's check here, it goes from 60 to 72, I believe. Yeah, 72. So it's a 12% back air, which is very similar to Roy's sweet spot back air, like in Smash 4 right now. Maybe like a percent or two off, I don't know off the top of my head. But Roy back air is like pretty strong, and Chrom back air is really strong throughout the whole sword. And that's awesome, because Roy back air right now is pretty safe if you, is perfectly safe if you cross up with it. They can't really do much because you can dash out, you can just dash away. If Chrom can actually space it without having to get the sweet spot and land with that, that's really strong. Looking here, okay, so something interesting happens with Chrom here that I think doesn't get talked about too much. I think Chrom is slightly slower than Roy. When Chrom starts running after this back air, let's just see here. Chrom starts running after the back air. Look at how slow he moves. See how long that takes? That's like Marth speed. Roy would have bolted across the screen like that. That's not. I don't know. It's not too much slower than Roy, but it does appear a lot slower than Roy. There's another example that's like, wow, that took a while for Chrom to get from point A to point B just dashing. But that's not really super. The thing about Roy's dash speed is that for a character like that, it's good enough to be great. If it was any less, it would be not super great, and Roy would probably be a much worse character overall because so many follow-ups would just not even exist. And if Chrom is missing that, then that might be but Chrom has range instead of speed, and that is debatably more useful. I say debatably because we haven't seen anything of Roy in this game, so we don't know if his weak hits actually do anything or stuff like that. So Chrom gets put off stage here, and he air dodges to recover, and something interesting happens. He gets Dark Samus F smashes him, and it almost looks like a 2-frame. Like, this looks like it would have been a 2-frame in Smash 4. He does. I don't know if he actually sweet spots the ledge. He might not after that air dodge, but he definitely just gets smacked, and he definitely just dies. Chrom comes back, does this falling up air, does have lag, runs up F smashes. So here we see something very, 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 very important, because Chrom lands, does F smash, and that F smash does 19%. Right? 19? It goes from, that's 71, 52 to 71. Yeah, that's 19%. Roy's super mega ultra sweet spot on his F smash does 20%. So that's super good. The middle hitbox of Roy's F smash only does 17, and the tip obviously does like -3. Doesn't really matter. If Chrom can space it and get 19% on all the hits, that's ridiculous. That's incredible. That's a super good tool. Honestly, that's bordering on like Marth F smash, except you can space it because it, like, look at how quickly this ends. It ends quicker than Marth's, and Marth's you'd have to space. So see, like, it even looks like it ends a little earlier than he started dashing, but he just started dashing back in shields. You might not be able to space it. It might not be actually as safe as I'm thinking, but it's 19% of shield stun on a move that's like very long. It's really, really good. And then the other part of that is that A is an F smash and it kills. So if you throw it out, you won't just completely risk your stock the way you do with Roy. So here we see something interesting. Chrom does his double jump, he fast falls there, lands. This is all that whole sequence was very Roy. That's pretty much identical to how Roy would have moved. I think Chrom's double jump is slightly higher than Roy's is, but we'll see that in a minute. There's a better example when he's on this top platform here. So Chrom does Dancing Blade. Chrom does Dancing Blade and it sends Dark Samus flying. Dark Samus is at kind of high percent right now. 75, 79. But she's in this side of the blast zone, so it went about this far. That's pretty good. Obviously pretty low percent, but honestly, off stage is going to be a situation where I think Chrom is going to shine, because Roy already does very well off stage in a game where off stage gameplay is not super well rewarded. And Chrom can just space stuff, so he doesn't have to challenge certain up Bs as much, and that's really, really useful. And as we saw before, forward air into forward air seems to just be a true combo, and that could just straight up kill off stage. So Chrom grabs the ledge here, and we see something. This is something much more important than I think a lot of people give credit to. He does this nair off the ledge hop. Roy's ledge hop, like just jump from the ledge, not drop ledge, double jump, has a lot of momentum. If you hold to the left while you're doing it, you'll land about like right here. You just kind of like move very far across the screen. In fact, Secret Roy Tech, on Lilat, if you hop from the ledge and you air dodge on certain tilts, you'll automatically edge cancel the air dodge, and it's actually really useful. Lilat kind of sucks because Roy kind of sucks with recovering, but you can get a lot of things off of that that's a pretty safe way to get off the ledge. But the thing about what Chrom does here is that he sort of gets moving, and then he just kind of peters off once he hits like this area. And it might be that he's just not holding to the left the way you would as Roy, because he does a nair, and in order to do a nair, you can't be holding a direction. But he's up top here, and if this was Roy, he'd be like over here by now. Probably a little lower, but like over here by now. And then Chrom double jumps, gets his back air, punishes the Dark Samus up smash whiff, which is pretty useful. That back air did... Back air might be a little stale by now, but that back air actually did 11%. So yeah, it seems like it got a little stale. We haven't really seen anything too important yet. Chrom misses the tech, whiffs an F smash. All too similar to how I personally play. Misses tech, do an F smash. Ridley has a final smash. That's not necessarily that big of a deal yet, but Chrom does get up attack. I thought that was down smash the first time I watched this, and I was like, oh man, that's really good. But actually, it's not. Chrom does this hit. Sends Ridley over there. Nothing really important happens in this little circumstance. Also, I love the Persona cut in here. I feel like this doesn't get appreciated enough. I really like that. Lucina gets smacked. She's at like 200 now. I don't know why this does so much damage. It just kills anyway. But, you know, it's a lot of damage. Chrom, how's it feel to watch your daughter just die? Anyway, yeah, there you go. That's the best example that I have of Chrom being slightly slower. So Chrom starts down here. Like, let's see him get down here. He starts running. Look at how long it takes him to get to the one end. I think his initial dash length is the same as Roy's, which is like the most important part of Roy's dash, because of extended dash dancing, which isn't a thing in this game, but that's what it is in Smash 4. But his initial dash length seems just about identical, but as soon as he starts running, he slows down quite a bit. So he seems like he's actually much slower than Roy. Anyway, whiffs an F smash, doesn't get punished. That I've never seen that before. Everybody just kind of gets smacked around. The walls on this stage kind of screwed with all these setups. Chrom does Dancing Blade. This isn't really a good time to explain the Dancing Blade. Yo, Chrom, there you go. Takes him a while, but he gets up there and back airs Dark Samus and kills Dark Samus pretty solidly. Back air on Roy is like, it's just better forward air. I don't know how many people are actually aware of this. It's about a frame quicker. It does 1 extra %. It kills earlier, and it has a bigger sweet spot. So it's literally better than forward air in every way, shape, and form. The only problem is that in order to do it, you have to roar, and that takes a little longer than just jump forward air. And then jump forward air has its own little setups, but generally isn't that safe. But Chrom just does this back air here, and that kills at, let's see, what's the percent? 137. That's reasonable. That's Roy's would have killed there too, like definitely. But the fact that Chrom's killing that early means that his kill power is going to be pretty okay at the very least. Alright. Chrom jumps, lands another back air. We know this back air is really stale now because it's only doing 9%. I don't know how many back airs are in the queue in terms of like how many times it's been used. I haven't really been keeping track, but it's definitely just staler now. Chrom jumps, gets caught by that, gets F tilted. This looks like a combo. I wanted to bring this up because I noticed this before. This like uncharged charge shot to F tilt looks like it just straight up works. Alright, wait for. Did I skip ahead by accident? I might have skipped ahead. Yeah, here we are. Okay, so Dark Samus does this uncharged charge shot, and then it just kicks him, and that just looks like it works. I don't know if it actually does, but it seems like the low knockback of like the uncharged charge shot on Dark Samus can actually lead into some kind of F tilt, which who knows? Maybe is a thing, maybe isn't. Chrom just dies like super fast. Here we see something really cool. Oh wait, I might be wrong. No, there's a back air there. This leads probably not as much into a combo. The thing about Roy's back air is that if you land like rising back air, you can combo it into a lot of stuff. Chrom, in this case, lands rising back air. Why do I keep doing that by accident? Chrom, in this case, lands rising back air, and it looks like he can't really get much at all. See, so he gets this. Dark Samus is around like 50-ish %, 40-50-ish %. And she's kind of far, and in fact, she gets to move pretty quick. Chrom, this is one of the things that makes me think that this Chrom is a Roy player, because he double jumps and tries to do a thing, which would have worked in Smash 4 if this was Roy. But in this case, it does not, because I don't know if the angle of back air is different or what, but that's the way this seems to be going. Chrom lands with Dancing Blade. So something interesting we see about Dancing Blade here is that Dark Samus is at 50k. So that does 13%, and it sends Dark Samus flying. Again, the end knockback of Chrom's Dancing Blade seems very high, but I think the reason for that is his Dancing Blade is based on Roy's, and Roy's Dancing Blade is very strong. It's honestly, like, if you can land the sweet spot of the 4th hit of like the red version, that kills like very consistently around like even 80% at the ledge. It's really useful. The only problem is the sweet spot is very finicky, and it's hard to set up into because all of the 3 other hits don't really lead into that particular version of the move. So if you were actually trying to do side B at higher percents, you'd probably just have to space it and do like a couple of the up hits because they kind of link into each other nicer. Chrom in this case, because I mean Dancing Blade is so different, seems like that just works, and that put on 13%, which is really solid. Dark Samus recovers with missiles. Does he counter? Was that counter? No, I thought he countered. That was a counter. Nice one, Chrom. Whiffs the counter, which is indicative of that move not being that good, but honestly, counter doesn't really matter that much. We see Stage Morph. I don't like Stage Morph. I'm going to bring this up now because I think a lot of people are like, oh, you can pick Stage Morph and you can have, instead of just one neutral stage, you have 2 stages that you can start on. The problem with Stage Morph is, we see this with Ridley. He just stays there, and that keeps adding damage, I think. Yeah, that's just adding damage that whole time. Lucina goes from, let's see here, 72 to 110. Just like nothing. And I don't know if that's because of this. It's likely because of this. But also, it happened because Stage Morph. And Stage Morph is awkward and weird. And it makes the blast zones different, like all of a sudden. It makes a lot of setups weirder. It makes recovering kind of a lot more... Like, if it changes to Lilat and Lilat tilts and you just can't make it back, you can't predict that very easily. Well, you can because of the timer, but you can't... It's a little... I think it's a little dumb to play around. That's my opinion on Stage Morph, though. I don't think we'll actually ever have it. It's forward air. I think this is really cute. I don't know why I like this little string here so much, but Chrom does forward air, and it forces Ridley to tech. It forces Ridley to tech at super low percents. So, Chrom's pushing a mix-up, basically, with his forward air at very early percents. Ridley gets hit at, 11. It's super low, comparatively. So he gets hit at 11, gets put into tumble, and he has to tech. Chrom does turnaround, instant turnaround back air, and that honestly looks really slick, this little thing. And Ridley's in a really bad situation now, because Chrom could probably forward air, double jump forward air off stage, and maybe even just kill him, because Brinstar is really small. He doesn't go for that, because nobody plays his character, so nobody can laugh that out. But, we see up B. Chrom's up B is really wacky, and I have a lot of things to say about it, because compared to Ike's, it's actually so much better in a lot of ways. Still bad, but a lot better. Mostly because, here, we'll see. He does it right about now. So, I don't know if any of you caught that, because that was super fast. Chrom has a startup hitbox on his up B that looks near instant. It looks incredibly fast. I wouldn't be shocked if it was like frame 4 or some ridiculous speed, because Roy's is frame 4, and it's probably a little similar to that. But he does this initial hit. Instead of having armor, I think he has that, and that's way more consistent than just armor. Ike also has an initial hitbox on his up B, but it's much slower, and so you have to rely on armor to actually make it through certain hits. But basically, if somebody tries to go down and dunk on Chrom, like a Ganon down air or like a Falcon down air, while he's, say, down here-ish, Chrom can just up B, hit him with the initial hitbox, that'll beat out the down air, and then maybe even get the cheesy Ike up B spike that you can get. Which, that'd be kind of silly. Also, I like the dirt effects that happen, when Chrom lands with this. The only problem is, when Chrom lands with this move, he has about 1.5 billion years of lag. Look at how long it takes for him to start holding shield. You will always go to the ledge with this up B. Always. Even if you don't, you will. You will desperately need to. Dark Samus doesn't quite get a punish, but we'll see what happens with Chrom in this little situation. Because, boom. This is really stupid. There's a lot of reasons why what's happening here is really stupid. Let's get into it right now. This is kind of not related to Chrom in any way, shape, or form. It's kind of a tangent, but it's really important because it proves that Ridley might be the dumbest character in doubles of all time. Dark Samus does a forward air, right? She just starts doing a forward air. Chrom is at 20-ish% when he starts getting hit. Ridley lands with down B. I keep doing that. Ridley lands with down B. He does it mid-air, gets the mid-air sweet spot, And it only hits Chrom, even though Lucina is like right there with him. So what that tells me is that Ridley's down B might only be able to hit one character at a time, which means in teams, if you are doing a team combo and the one person that is your opponent is in front of the other person that is your teammate, say for example a throw, Ridley can just down B them, and then the other person can just do the tech chase instead of Ridley having to get a follow-up. So Chrom goes, by the way, from about 20% to 84. I mean, you don't need me to tell you that that's absolutely absurd, but it is. And he's in this little scenario here. Ridley gets to go over here and handle Lucina with Dark Samus. Chrom takes forever to actually get back up, but now he is back up. That's huge. Like, that's ridiculous. That was like a baby setup. That was like a Dark Samus happened to forward air, and Ridley was like, "Ooh, let me just stab this dude." Imagine like with coordinated setups that are like Pikachu forward throw, down B, Pikachu tech chase forward throw, down B, stuff like that. Just like loop constantly. Pikachu can jab lock with his jab, because I don't think they can tech the crumple. Like, it's gonna be ridiculous. There's likely infinites in the game, similar to footstool combos, because I don't think you can tech the crumple on Ridley's down B. But yeah, so that's pretty much completely absurd. Chrom does this up air. So something interesting happens with up air here. Up air doesn't do that much damage. It goes from 43 to 51. That's 7%, which is good. That's around Roy damage. It's not identical to Roy damage, but it's around the same amount. The important thing is that it has much more range. The up air on Roy, see how this is hitting the tip? This would have been a weak hit. Ridley would have been able to punish Chrom here. Chrom would have been punishable on hit if Chrom had Roy's sword. Luckily, he doesn't. He has an actual sword. And so he hits Ridley with his up air and continues to juggle. Roy's up air is really good because it sends people like nowhere. Like, imagine if the weak hit of Cloud's up air was the strong hit, and it like linked into itself, and you could juggle off of it and stuff like that. It's a lot like Wolf's up air in Brawl, actually, if you wanted to compare it to something. It just kind of links into itself. You can keep juggling. It'll just keep going forever and ever, it feels. It doesn't do that much damage, but it doesn't matter because it tacks on so much. Ridley does Nair. Chrom tries to punish, doesn't get it, and Chrom just gets kicked by this big old Ridley leg. Dies. He doesn't die, but he gets kicked at like 84 and like almost dies. Kind of silly, if I'm being completely honest. He recovers with air dodge again, but it gets beat out by Ridley fireballs. I love the way Ridley looks in this game. I don't know how they managed to make him, like how he looks in the NES and SNES games, how they managed to make him look like that in HD, but they totally did. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anywho, Chrom is recovering here. Pretty low. Does he use? Yeah, he uses the stage to recover because Chrom is a big brain. But he's still up Bs for some reason. I don't know why he would do that. Because now he dies to Dark Samus back air. Dark Samus honestly could have probably landed and F smashed that, and it still would have been a punish. There's a lot of lag on that move. Big moment of truth here. Chrom just did down throw. Something very weird about Chrom's down throw is that first he does a pummel, and the pummel does about like 1%, I think. I think it's actually 1%. Yeah, it's literally 1%, 1.3%. Which is fine. 1.3% pummel is good. Oh, wait a second. Guys, I think I know why Ridley went flying after that down throw. Ridley picked up a poison mushroom while he was in Chrom's grab. This is a poison mushroom, right? I don't know if it is. But Ridley's pretty big, and then he turns really small. So he goes flying because poison mushroom increases knockback. So this is not indicative of how far Ridley will go in terms of like if you actually down through Ridley here, because Ridley's at like pretty high percent. But thanks to poison mushroom, it completely messes that up. Ridley takes also like 6% from that. The damage of down throw doesn't really matter that much, because what matters is the follow-up more than anything else. But this down throw here sent Ridley flying, not because it has weird knockback, but because Ridley is small. I thought Ridley was too big. They shrunk him down, and now he looks like a I was gonna say Ramphorinkid pterosaur, and nobody would have gotten it. Anyway, he looks like a tiny man. Ridley gets on there, but Chrom picks up Death Scythe. Hey, look at that. It just looks so dumb. Chrom's got a regular sword, and he's just got this big old scythe that he's just one-handing. Like, don't mind me. He's like holding the tip of it. I don't get how that even works. But Chrom hits Ridley with that. Ridley dies because that's how the move works. Chrom does back air. Another back air, killing at like 120. This is really solid. Brinstar is small, but it probably would have killed anyway. Like, just look at how fast Dark Samus goes there. So, I mean, just based on that, it seems like it'd be a pretty strong kill move, just like at any particular percent. What are we doing here? Chrom picks up the POW block. For those of you who are looking for POW block analysis. So Chrom gets a counter here. I think Chrom says counter when he counters. Which, if he does, if that's actually what he says, I will play this character 100%. That's the greatest thing of all time. He gets the counter. The counter actually hits. This is a big deal. Actually, we can honestly figure out how much damage does this counter do. Oh, it didn't do any damage? Oh, she was still invincible from landing from the halo. Never mind. Okay, that makes sense. So, sudden death. There is one important thing that happens here. Chrom runs up and smacks Ridley. Ridley dies. Chrom is in shield. Chrom jumps. Chrom jumps again. He does this forward air. This is like a Roy forward air. This is an avocado forward air. Super close range, top of shield, terribly spaced forward air. And the thing is, Chrom gets punished. That's definitely a punish. Dark Samus does up B out of shield. She probably could have done other moves. Chrom obviously would just die because it's, 300%. But, like, this is Omega unsafe. It's unsafe in Smash 4, and it's still unsafe now. You have to space this in order to make it, like, actually useful. And how are we doing here? Gets the up B. Lucina has to clutch it out because Lucina has to do everything, because Chrom... I mean, honestly, if you ever play through the games, Chrom doesn't really get a whole lot done. But, you know what I mean. If you play Awakening, you know what I mean. But yeah. So, that's Dark Samus and Chrom. Well, not Dark Samus. Lucina and Chrom. Chrom is going to yell, anything can change. Thank you, Chrom. Look at this dead stare. Look at this blank stare. I don't know why Chrom is just so odd to me, but he just kind of is from time to time. Some important things. We're going to talk about aesthetics because this is vital to Chrom's design. Number A, he has 2 different color shoes. I don't know why. I don't know why he would wear 2 different color shoes. He just does. Lucina wore the right color shoes. Chrom didn't. I don't know why he would do that. He just didn't. But the other thing is Chrom's colors. Chrom has one color that is like red with gold like metal bits and like hooks and whatnot on his body belts. I don't know how to explain that. On his like stuff. And the cape is like black, and that color looks amazing. That color looks great in this game. And if Chrom has like really good colors, I will actually 100% play this character. Like easy. But that's basically it about Chrom in this little 3-minute trailer we have here. Nothing really super important to go over. Just kind of wrap it up. I think like final thoughts on Chrom as a character right now. I could be wrong. Oh, also something weird. There's one more aesthetic thing that I think is very odd. Let's see if we can cut to it. Chrom has a glove that has a cuff, but no shirt sleeve. I don't know how this works. I don't even know where he would get that unless he had a shirt, cut the cuff off of the shirt, and only wore the cuff with a glove, which, I mean, it's just weird. Like, that's a weird thing. But, I don't know where you get this. I don't even know what to call this. It's just like a cuff, but that's what it is. But basically, like, final thoughts on Chrom. I think Chrom is like, I think he's going to be the better Roy. I think his up B, his, based on what we've seen, his double jump and his full hop seem slightly higher than Roy's. And the full hop thing kind of doesn't matter, but the double jump does, because Roy's double jump kind of goes nowhere, and Roy sinks like a rock. So horizontally, I think Roy's recovery will be better, just in general, but vertically, Chrom is going to be better because, I mean, obviously he goes up more. And, when do you recover? You recover because you have to go up. That's right. More often than not, you have to go up than go out when you're recovering. And so that's going to be super useful. But, yeah, until we get our hands on the game and we know what Roy's weak hits do, because that is the thing, right? If Roy can get stuff off of weak hits in this game, he is going to be a much better character. Like, if Roy can do, like, weak hit nair into follow-ups that are, like, better than strong hit nair or something like that. Basically, if Roy has combos that lead into stuff with weak hit, like down throw, weak hit, up air, up smash, stuff like that's a kill confirm. I don't think it is. I don't see how it could be. But if it is, Roy's a much better character. But basically, the thing about Chrom is that Chrom trades everything bad about Roy in terms of, like, spacing and whatnot. And he has better range in terms of that. But also his ground game is slightly weaker because of it. Because obviously his speed isn't quite as good, but because his range is better on, say, his jab, which is like Roy's best move easy, because his range is better on that move, he will have, like, he's going to have a better ground game because he can space jab and be safe. Like, Roy jab on shield right now is basically like being -2 in Street Fighter V, where it's like safe, but you're not pushing a mix-up, so it's not that safe. Chrom can space it though, so who cares? Stuff like that. Overall theme of Chrom is obnoxious normals. Roy normals, but they're safe, and that's obnoxious because they all link into each other in, like, super good ways. But that's about it. I think Roy will sometimes be a counter pick if you play Chrom. I will probably play Chrom day one. But, yeah. Final verdict, Chrom is really, really good. He's not that good. He's much better than Roy. Compared to Roy, he's really, really good. I think he'll be mid-tier at best. There it is. So that's all I got. Thank you for watching this, if you actually did. Tune in next time whenever I actually put anything out, if you guys are interested. And, yeah, thanks for